Bigbossjock, my 750. Day 56 of the protest. Episode 33 of the radio show. Radio Rebelde. Vivo y directo desde el norte de California, el pueblo de Redding, vía 56 del protesta, episodio 33 del radio show. Dándonos el ritmo, Motor City Sound, Motown, greatest hits. This is my time. I'm in 1973 most of the time. Sometimes I venture to 72. I'll even go all the way to 74. My line before, give me any more, I was out the door. I've been here a long time. Really. I stay between 65 and 78. I'll do sock hop and go back to 56. And that's about it. That's my music. I know to use it. Most days I'm in 72, 73. Been here for many years. I'll venture away, but I come right back. I won't stay away too long. And out there, I don't know, the calendar says 17. What does that number mean to me? That's the year that the society participates in, and I'm right here in 73, doing my own thing. Yeah. You understand the models of the cars they changed. And the good ones, they're difficult to find anymore. They're expensive. They call them a classic. The 60s cars, they go. And then he went to the smelter. Yeah. What a waste. People could have kept their cars and their families for decades and decades, generations. This is a throwaway society. And it's ridiculous. You people accept being on the road with tires. You're in the buggy and wagon. Yeah. It goes along with the ideology. They can't think another way. Don't take their car away. Staying with the Remo. Well, it is a radio show. Sounds like Junior Walker. Shotgun. Gonna go get some. I don't know. Hey, it's just walking. That's all I'm doing and talking. Another day of the same. Nuestro Señor, nuestro único Dios, aquí al entro a mí. Es que me ayuda a hacer la rima. Nosotros, haciéndola línea por línea, la rima. Es poesía. I'm on the up. Gonna pull it off. I don't know. Out here in front of the F.B.I. field office, doing this. The op. Pulling it off. Yeah. Duck waddle. Never looked so good. Was sent to 16 F.B.I. field offices along with their main office. So I decided to share that on the Chirp, the bird channel. Hey, there's a page. I don't know, it was a double shadow and I wasn't Charlie. Continuing with the show. It's that time of the day. Somber to the east. Head around the corner. The F.B.I.'s up there on the 3rd floor. I multitask. I'm right here doing the protest. Yeah. What's I going to cover? Water tank and how torture works, sexual abuse, and what happened in this representative of my life. So if you people can understand, no, I'm understanding the transsexual in the afternoon. She had me on there in the tranny giddy up. And now I'm remembering you. You really turned it on, didn't you? Well, you people, I'm speaking right to her. She knows who she is. She's right there by the tunnel. The entrance. They all are there in Hollywood. All over Southern California, they have their entrances. The pinpricks? Yeah, go ahead, the pricks. Inserted an electroshock hooked up. You people go ahead and laugh. Laugh, 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 laugh. Because that's why I'm being subjected to stand out here, humiliated once more. Another day, being a slave with no pay. And this is tolerated because they say, well, he's a queer off the transsexual show in the afternoon. And they all know. So here we go. Looks like it's going to be a long time. I became aware of that yesterday. No, today. Yeah. Trauma, how's it work? Sexual abuse. June of 14. You've been watching the show for a while. You understand I had a warrant for my arrest and I wasn't here for a couple years. Duress? Well, that was the house. The house was in stress. Well, him, and he couldn't handle anymore. That would be John. He was old, elderly. He's pushing 70. And he couldn't work on the house. That kind of stress. So I wanted to help him out. They had me here and they hurt me. And we're talking torture every day. And I'll help you out with the tank. And it's part of it. See, there was games. They probably enticed me when I can remember it all. It's supposed to be that I want to help him, and he's going to hurt me, and it's another psyops, another game. There was another game many times an hour, or was it just once that hour? For every hour, 2 weeks, when I was here in June of 14. Now, follow story. The house is on a well. It has a system. I've dealt with that system. It has a pump and a tank and a pressure valve. Foot valve at the other end of the pump. I know this system. I knew before we had a problem. It was a pinhole leak. Couldn't be seen other than there was a rust spot on the tank on the outside, on the visible, where one walks by, not the backside. So what John with I did, pulled the cap out, put a valve such as is on a tire to inflate, so he could put pressure to the tank when the pressure would escape because of the pin leak. John, because this was part of the game, he either gave away or destroyed many things. The compressor was one of them. The cars, I mean, just one after another, everything. The people he had there were my enemies. He invited them in to humiliate me. Right now, excuse me, clearing my throat. Right now, because my mind was traumatized for years, now that I'm aware of this, I must play the game that none of this ever happened. And that John's the victim, and that because of the warrant for my arrest, the elder care abuse, this is what I must do to receive the roof. Since I've been born, he knew I wasn't his DNA. He drove me away every time he could press the button on the gamma ray. And when the gamma ray button wasn't pressed, he gave me lines, floater, the turd. He didn't say it, but it was overheard. Not explaining to me. And with him, the floater, you bought the floater. That's the turd. It swirls around, won't flush out to the sewer. The bastard. Me. The tank. Let's go back to the tank. I knew what the problem was in 14 and why he was blowing capacitors, and he wanted to go into city water. I could have made a bottling water business, and I talk. The mighty 750 kilohertz, and I heard, don't talk. We're on an aquifer. I said, oh, to myself, and I just talked. I know to John it's the same as talking to myself, because then everything's heard, and he doesn't say anything other than it was his idea later. Usually as I'm saying that, which is a no idea. You'll see. And not everything is negative with him, but this part is, and it's just going to have to be dealt with. Well, it's about over. Yeah, it is. It's been a long, long ride having a handler that I need to call dad, father. Sexual abuser, tormentor, torturer, on orders from Yankee Sam, implementing the program. A little difficult. Well, him with his entourage, and he had a pimp in the house, took over. Let's remember there's a bunker, and there was about 25 pounds every 2.5 months of green bud. And the average price back in 15 years ago, 20 years ago, was $4,000, and if they sold 10 pounds a lot, it was $3,600, $3,400. That was the price. Well, big surprise. And I couldn't figure out why I don't have anything. Others with the same last name as me, one specifically, the others have different names, but they're part of that bloodline. Because DNA-wise, I'm not. I'm related to Hitler. No, one off, Himmler. Technically, DNA. Yeah, that's what they chose for me. Well, Yankee government with the MK Ultra program. This is before I was ever born. I mean, I didn't choose the sperm. They did. Paula Sue played the part. John did too, also. And he's played Angel. He let me believe that the whole reason I knew how to give my daughter love was because he was such a loving dad. And he never hurt me. He didn't say, son, listen, I accept you as one, but DNA-wise, you're not. And I didn't properly love you the way I should have when you were young. I'm telling you this to help you. And these are the things that happen. Then I wouldn't have remained a slave. Instead, they're all split identities. All of them, my whole family. So they live in denial. And you want to talk about lie, they lie to themselves. The difference between them and me with the DID, dissociative identity disorder, is that I was a perfect split. Meaning, until I became aware, polygraph, I'd pass. Them, they know. That's a friend. Their friend that it didn't happen to them, it happened to their friend. They're going to tell me about their friend again. That's them, their middle name. Or a nickname. I'm a little tired. The water tank. I came back almost 2 years ago now. Couldn't figure out why the water system wasn't working right. John had code words and phrases from the torture, the sodomizations. His arm in my anus, there's a hand on the other end that punched my pelvis. I was a little furious, and I had made the comment, and I almost did. All with my 2 fingers, rip his heart out through his anus. When I figured out what he had done to my daughter. And I made the comment, so he did it again and again. He said, how's it feel? Oh yeah, I was furious. I was up on top of him, and all of a sudden he started whimpering. You gotta understand, he was my handler. He barked at me because he broke my psyche at 2 years old, and I was the beat puppy dog. Treated as boy. And this is what was chosen for me. Everyone played their part. It's a little difficult. I had a warrant for my arrest for 4 years. Going back to the water tank. Came back 2 years ago. Couldn't water the lawn. I did, and I blew a capacitor. That means there's a capacitor that goes for that pressure valve. Between the pump and the pressure valve is a junction box. Well, it wasn't in there. No, and it wasn't in the switch. But the capacitor in that junction box was burnt. What happened was the pinhole got bigger and bigger, and the rust going down the side of the tank was quite obvious, with a big knot of rust on the side. But see, so-and-so, should I call that me? Yo? Couldn't figure it out that the rust was the problem, and went and bought another capacitor with John again and again and again and again. We bought $20 capacitors for months until I could get over the trauma of being sodomized in my own house. Not my house, a house that I was paying for at one time and invested a lot of thousands of dollars. 20 grand in a bunker built by my hand. A driveway over 10 grand, a roof, and payments to Edith. From the first payment, gamma ray turned on. Go ahead, this is great. You just fell into the trap. And we want you to know that. This will never be your house. But keep on acting like that. Go ahead and keep making the payments. Turn off the gamma and some sexual abuse, then turn back off the gamma ray, and everyone smiles and continued on. And this is what happened. They used me up. When I was young, I shouldn't have bought the house, and that's why I broke up with Aleka. I had nothing. Every time I go back, everything hawked. All the bills were owing. She had a heroin addict. I wasn't aware of that. Somewhere in my mind I was. She was a heroin addict, and probably still is. She had a $100 hab a day, and that's in South America. Well, I didn't give her $100 a day. That's $3,000 a day for heroin. So she got another way. And she always had. Before she knew me, she knew Roger. Good afternoon. Roger is part of that group known as Delta. Been in my life since 1970. When I was born. Sexually abused me so he could gain the control. This whole program's about sexual abuse, torture. We're talking the extreme of both. Severe. The water tank. So somewhere in my mind, I know exactly what is wrong with the tank. People, if you watch me, it's as if I don't. And spin and spin and spin. He did this with me on everything. Until my eyes were going in different directions. Shaking. Completely crazy. He had the key phases. I mean, you people, they did it down to when you sit at the computer and he walks by, stands at your left shoulder and smiles, it means this. If he tells you this phrase, it means that. If the puzzle's in the corner, you will not touch. If they had, everything. To where the videos were placed, the junk in the room was placed, everything meant something. Everything. This is what these Fed agents up here on the 3rd floor, they were in the house. They're still in the house. They filter me every day. Night also. Water tank. Well, I could get untraumatized enough to figure out that, look it's the pinhole. I knew there was a pinhole. Why couldn't I accept that? I knew that before I left. How come I didn't know that was a pinhole? Because I couldn't remember being here in June of 14, so I kept that for a later date, but it did perplex me when I could fix the water tank. Then within some days, I figured out that I was here in June of 14. It might have been at the same time when I go back and remember. And this is how it works. They did this with me, the bent axles on my truck, everything I touch, everything is a setup. Tied with sexual abuse, torture. And furthermore, anyone around me was in on the plan. Deceiving me, lie. Yep. Further their life. Lying. If they told the truth, tarnished would be their image. Over would be their lives as they know them. So to preserve their image, along with their way of life, they lie. And it's just fine if I die a cruel death and lived a miserable life. Everyone's fine. No one break rings. No one. I mean, John right now is full of information. When I confronted him about Bush, he gave me another phrase. Bush, that's right to you, George Sr. He dressed down. He said he was playing the clown. He was doing the farmer, dressing as a farmer. Well, back in the day, my grandpa would go to the auction with his brothers. And sometimes he'd just go alone. He'd dress down, just like a farmer, and have someone else do the bidding. He'd put on his disguise, as if he's going in to rob the bank. That day was the auction. I was going to get a good price. I got a good story about robbing banks. Sue, she was the getaway driver. 14, the learner's permits. Here's 15 and a half. In Idaho, it's 14. She's going to school, and she's crying again. I'm too. I got the spoon. I won't spill the goo. She's got done telling me the story. 2, well, coming over soon. That's Lou. Sue, she's a prostitute, and she prostitutes me too. This is back in 72. Well, I made it. I'm in 73, and I'm feeling just fine being out here, doing it another day, enjoying the sunshine. I have to say, it's much better than rain. The Kennedy Assassination Association has been quite involved in my life. I was going to do these shorter, and I did a double. Bigbossjock signing off. My 750. That's momentarily. Day 56 of the protest. Episode 33 of the radio show. Radio Rebelde. Vivo y directo. El Poderoso. 750. Nuestro Señor aquí al intro a mí. Nuestro único Dios. Es quien me ayuda. El coño. Nosotros hacemos la línea por línea. Y yo digo, gracias a nuestro Señor por ayudarme a hacer la rima. Firmando fuera.